Yes, this is now Tarot Lesson 109, and I'm going to get to court cards. And I have two things to mention before we get to that. And one is, I was the Tarot Reader Volume 2 should be ready quite soon. And earlier today, I was importing images of the cards into the text. And some of them are upside down. And I realized partway through that you may already know of a woman called Julia Cameron. And she wrote a book called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. Because you've got two sides of two hemispheres in the brain. The left side is critical. The right side is creative. And so they've got their own things that they're good at. So if you're brainstorming, you brainstorm for 2 minutes and use the right side of the brain, because that way you get quantity. And then later you assess and critique the ideas that you've got using the left side of the brain, because it's critical and it's more interested in quality. Right, so you get quantity and quality. But Julia Cameron says, if you want to become good at drawing, you take, let's say you want to draw a chair and you've got a photograph of a chair. Instead of drawing the chair by looking at the picture, your mind gets in the way of, because you've got preconceived ideas of what a chair ought to look like. And it means that when you try to copy the shape of the chair onto a piece of paper, it doesn't look right. So what she says is turn the picture upside down and then do a drawing, because the picture's upside down, your conscious mind can't recognize what the chair ought to look like and get in the way of you doing the drawing, get in the way of the right side of the brain that's creative doing the drawing. And what you end up doing is, if there's a chair with a back with not spokes, but whatever the word would be, and what you do is, instead of drawing the back of the chair, you draw the spaces between the different backs of the chair, and you end up with something that's much more realistic, because you looked at it upside down. It struck me, maybe that's what we do with a card that's reversed. Instead of looking at, let's say, the Ace of Batons upright, you look at it, you see it's a baton, there's a hand, there's a cloud, blah, blah, blah. If you turn it upside down, you're not seeing, you've got a better chance of understanding what it's actually about or what's also going on, because the conscious mind that knows this is a baton and that's a hand and that's a cloud, it can't look at the picture and give you ideas that may be legitimate enough, but maybe aren't a correct interpretation of the card. So this is kind of one, it struck me this morning, it's maybe one reason for using reversed cards, because when you look at the picture of a reverse card, it's maybe not, you're not immediately recognizing what it's about. And because you don't immediately recognize it, you've got a better chance of the right side of the brain, the creative side of the brain, giving you ideas that make more sense. So, because here we've got these, and maybe we'll look at these leaves falling down because of gravity. But we turn it this way, maybe we imagine the leaves falling up, which changes so that maybe with the Ace of Batons, what you would normally expect for the regular, normal, typical way of things happening is going to be the opposite. Instead of falling down, you're going to fall up. So instead of applying for a job and getting an interview, the job is going to find you. Or maybe what you do is, instead of looking for a job and trying to get one and applying to all sorts of different places, what you do is you sit where you are and get the job to come to you by thinking about the job coming to you, instead of doing it the normal way, which is, okay, make a plan, go out and make it happen, apply for interviews and go, and so on. So think about what you would see if you were to have a card upside down, if you were to have a picture upside down. The second point is, okay, I've got my scribbled notes here. So the next time somebody doubts or questions you about your interest in the tarot and tells you it's not worth your time or it's not legitimate, say to them, what do you get when you add 2 and 2? 2 plus 2 equals 4. Can you see that? 2 plus 2 equals 4. And you say, okay, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Explain it. Why does 2 plus 2 equal 4? We know 2 plus 2 is 4, but we don't know why, actually. It's a mystery. And so, in the same way that 2 plus 2 equals 4 just because it is, the tarot is because it is. It's a mystery. And in the same way that we work with 2 plus 2 equaling 4, where you get two things that become magically, amazingly become 1. The 2 and another 2 becomes 1, number 4. Something's actually happening there, but we never think about it. We just accept it. And in the same way, let us maybe look with the same acceptance when we're looking at tarot cards and see how differently we read or how differently we make sense of them. So this is supposed to be about court cards, and it occurred to me maybe people struggle with court cards because we don't have much to say about people and what they do and why they do what they do. Maybe we don't think about it that much. So for me, it's different because of my interest in astrology over the years. And I'm going to suggest that you look at a book called Sun Signs by Linda Goodman. It used to be very popular. I don't know if it's still available. You could probably find a copy somewhere. So on the one hand, read what Linda Goodman says about the signs of the Zodiac, because she talks about the Aries child, the Aries husband, the Aries wife, the Aries boss, the Aries employee, and so on. So she talks about how the different signs act or operate in different roles. And have a read at it, because in the same way that some people don't have much vocabulary to talk about relationships and loving and so on. So if you love chocolate chip cookies and you love Manchester United and you love your children, what's the difference between the different kinds of love that you've got for chocolate chip cookies, Manchester United, and your actual children? Somehow you really ought to love your children better than or differently from the way you love Manchester United. So the thing is, a lot of people don't have too many different words that they can use to describe different states of love. I admire the way Manchester United play football. Maybe not right at this minute, but that, it's like people haven't got too many different words they can use to describe different emotions. And maybe in the same way, if we don't have too many words to describe people, we're going to struggle a bit to know what a court card represents, because court cards are about people. And if we're not that comfortable talking about people and what they're like and why they do what they do and what they could do instead, or how they might act, or why they respond in a particular kind of a way, the Linda Goodman Sun Sign book will give you ideas about people and how they're built. The other thing is, I have mentioned before, Aries is a child of the Zodiac. If I remember, I'll put the words, the keyword that goes with the sign in the description. So Aries is a child. So I'm suggesting this not so that you can then think, okay, the King of Batons, that's the Aries. Not that. That's too... it doesn't work. Whereas by thinking about Aries people are like that. So you're developing a bigger vocabulary about certain types of people. So Aries is the child. So we don't expect Aries people to be grown up and old and tired and retired, because Aries is a child. They're always fresh, new, interested in all sorts of things. They like to collect stuff, because children like to gather their stuff together and develop little collections, and so do Aries people. So you're learning about the signs of the zodiac, not so you can relate one sign to one particular court card, but just so you've got a bigger vocabulary when you talk about people. So Aries is the child, Taurus is the farmer. So you think about, instead of thinking about Taurians, what does a farmer do? How does a farmer behave? So farmers, they have to be organized, and they have to be thinking ahead, so that if it's springtime, they're thinking about what crops they want. So they have to plant now in spring, so that they get the desired fruit or vegetable or plant, whatever it is. It's like 3 months from now. And so some people think ahead and take practical steps right now so that they can have what they want later. Whereas some people, maybe that other signs of the zodiac, other types of people, don't think like that. Some people sort of wing it, and they fly by the seat of their pants, as the expression is in English. So they just sort of, they don't bother organizing and preparing and thinking things through and taking it slowly and understanding that things need time to develop. Because some people rush, and maybe that gives you an idea. I've got the Knight of Pentacles here. So maybe you've got the idea, you're thinking about, some people rush, like a farmer reversed, or a farmer who's not a very good farmer doesn't plan ahead. And so you look at the Knight of Pentacles, maybe that's the kind of mentality of somebody planning ahead. They're slow, they're deliberate, what does a farmer do? They need other people. Maybe they need assistance, or they need equipment. So you take the idea of a farmer and you expand upon that idea, and you get some ideas about what a farmer's life is like. Or maybe you actually talk to a farmer and ask them maybe if you're thinking about farmers, you've got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You can't sleep until midday. And maybe you're thinking the farmer relates to this particular card. So the Knight upside down, the Knight of Pentacles upside down, you can't lie in bed till midday. That kind of thing. So what you're doing is you're taking an occupation maybe, or a certain type of individual, and you're expanding your understanding of what they would be like, or what they would naturally do, or what they have to do, and what will give them a problem if they don't do it. And then thinking about what card, what King, Queen, Knight, or Page. I've got one of each here. What King, Queen, Knight, or Page does that kind of behavior remind you of? Because I had written down from before, you look at a court card, what kind of role are you playing? What kind of habits do you have? And what kind of position are you in? So as you think about the different, Libra, for instance, can be a lawyer. Libra is the social hostess, I'm saying, for Libra. So Librans are good, or the Libra type is good for getting on with people, organizing people. Not the farmer organizes stuff, supplies and fertilizer and seeds and cows if you're a dairy farmer. But with Libra, the social hostess is good with people and understands who would get along with whom, and what sort of activities, how should we plan a dinner party? What do we eat? I once used to know this fellow in Switzerland. His name was George Williams. He was an artist. And I was teaching in a school at the time, and George is a former teacher who lived locally, and he invited all the teachers there to come and have dinner with him. So one at a time, and over the course of a couple of months. So I remember going to see George, and I showed up at 4 PM, and so we had to have drinks first and cocktails. So we have drinks, and then he makes soup, and this time it's made 6 o'clock. We have soup, and then we have more to drink. And then about 7:30, he starts cooking the main course. And then we eat that about 9 o'clock. And then after that, we have more to drink and I can't remember the word, but and then maybe at 11 o'clock, he makes dessert. And so we have coffee and dessert and more to drink. And so dinner with George and the social hostess idea, we started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I wandered home about 2 AM. It was a great evening, but it wasn't a typical, yes, let's have dinner, and an hour and a half later it's all over. It was really good. He spread it out for 10 hours. So maybe that's the kind of thing you get from thinking about a social hostess. What makes a good social hostess? What qualities do they have? Do they know their people, and do they know who to sit beside whom so that they can have a conversation? So do you put people together who are opposite, or do you put people together who are kind of similar? So they're going to have something in common that they can talk about. I think I've gone on long enough here. So anyway, I can come back to this. Maybe I will next time and talk a little bit more about the court cards and what kinds of people they are. But maybe that's it for the moment. So see what you think of that idea of thinking about people and what they're like and the different roles that people play, and the different characteristics or strengths and weaknesses the different types of people have, and what works in one situation that doesn't work in another one. And that can be a court card reversed. Your normal behavior would work, but it's upside down. So if you do it the normal way, it's not going to work. It's going to backfire. And that can be what a reverse card represents, a reverse court card can represent. Okay, so thanks for watching, and if you have comments, let me know, and I'll endeavour to deal with them. Okay, bye-bye.